There's no easy way to say this, but I've decided to leave the group.
Yep, that was me. I just quit my banking job of the last 7 years. It's all I'd ever known since graduating from university, and it certainly wasn't an easy decision by any stretch. I had a great salary, good employee benefits, and a great pension, and I've kind of sacrificed all that to do things my own way. It certainly wasn't an overnight decision. In actual fact, it's probably been about 10 years in the making. I didn't know when and at times how it was going to happen, but I knew if I kept working on the projects that I was working on, I'd have a better chance of one day it all paying off. They say luck happens when preparation meets opportunity. And right now I feel incredibly lucky and fortunate, but I'd be lying to myself and you guys if I didn't tell you that I hadn't prepared for this. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you guys 5 key things that I learned that allow me to quit my job to do things my own way, and how you can prepare yourself best too, so you could potentially do the same. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, I felt a little bit apprehensive coming on here and telling you that I'd quit my job, because quitting your job certainly isn't for everybody, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. For most people, myself included, you have to have a certain level of risk tolerance in order to be able to kind of get to that place within your own life. I know many people online slate the 9 till 5 and claim you're some kind of slave to the system. And whilst I certainly do have my own views on that, I didn't quit my job because of that mindset. The truth is, I actually quite enjoyed my job. It was intellectually stimulating at times, and I got to work with some very experienced bankers during my career. So it wasn't necessarily because of some kind of extrinsic motivation that I quit my job. And what I mean by that is because of the pursuit of money or reward. And instead, at its core, the way I ended up in this position was because of my own intrinsic motivations. I started out this YouTube channel to help people with their personal finances and provide the education that we didn't get in school. The eventual financial reward just came as a byproduct, which I guess is where the first lesson that I learned, which eventually led to me quitting my job, came from. As I said, I enjoyed my job, but at times it certainly lacked a deeper meaning and a deeper purpose. The work felt sometimes a little bit transactional. I spent far too much time on pointless Teams meetings that I didn't need to be on. I spent way too much time mitigating risk, which I guess having worked at a bank, you guys are probably glad to hear. But for me, it's a wonder that we ever got anything ever done with the amount of governance and kind of sign-off processes that we had to go through. And for people like me with my kind of personality type, I find that really frustrating. On a personal and professional level, I'm kind of the guy that just likes to get shit done. And being trapped or stuck in what I can only describe as the corporate machine, I felt like I wasn't really tapping into much of my potential. And I feel that's the reason why I had to look outside of the 9 till 5 in order to find deeper meaning and purpose in my life's work. From an early age, I had an interest in personal finance, and even as I got a little bit older, that kind of topic started to expand a little bit into the world of investing. So much so that I started this YouTube channel back in 2020 with the sole purpose to help people grow their wealth through proper money management and sound investing principles. Because the education system simply fails us in that respect, and it's something that I find really important. And all of this certainly left me feeling a hell of a lot more stimulated than that of my day job. It's something that allowed me to connect with you guys watching this video, many of whom who have the same financial interests and no doubt the same financial goals as well. And there's nothing more motivating than seeing comments on the videos where people have said that I've genuinely helped them out in some way. So for me, making these little 10-15 minute YouTube videos has far more meaning than any of the work that I could have ever done during my 9 till 5 job. So as cliche as this may sound, find something that you genuinely enjoy in your own life and then just do that thing, because if you do, you'll probably find that you'll never work a day in your life, which is exactly how I feel right now. Elon Musk said you get paid in direct proportion to the difficulty of the problems that you solve. Now, I'm sure as not sending anybody to Mars anytime soon, but running this YouTube channel has allowed me to face into far bigger problems that are being faced both nationally and globally. It's bigger than any other problem that I could have even imagined facing into during my time at a corporate job, because I was simply just a cog in a big organization, a number that could just be replaced with another. And despite how integral I perhaps felt I was, or perhaps told I was, to the overall performance of the division, I knew I was just a cog in the machine, and the machine would keep on turning whether I was present or not. And that's because the problems that I was solving day to day were certainly small in comparison to the problems that we're now looking at on this YouTube channel. Like, to give you an example, negotiating deals with companies to save a multi-billion-pound company just a few £1,000s is nothing like opening the floodgates on the nation's personal finances. Like, the two things are certainly under the same topic area as money, but are on completely different spectrums in terms of the problems being faced and the overall impact that I could have. A couple of grand to a multi-billion pound company is absolutely meaningless, but over 3 million views on this channel, which have helped people along with their personal finance journeys, well, you can't put a price on that. But of course, with that, it does have its financial benefits, because you also get paid in proportion to the number of people that you can serve too. And with the channel continuing to grow each month, I'm being paid handsomely, and I'm earning far more money now than I perhaps could have ever done working a 9 till 5. And to me, that just feels pretty insane, so thank you guys for all of your continued support. However, one thing that my corporate job did allow me to do was to actually start investing back in 2017, where I deposited £400 of my first pay packet into an investment account. Roll on nearly 7 years and I'm sat on a portfolio value of about £68,000. And nobody can take that away from me, apart from the stock market, of course.
And it's gone!
Now, having somehow procured all of these assets has given me a huge amount of financial confidence. Because not only did I leave my job, obviously, with an emergency fund in hand, but I've also got all of these kind of assets that are growing in value each year too. And that's largely thanks to the progress that I've made on Trading 212, who I was going to feature in this part of the video anyway, but I reached out to them and they've kindly agreed to sponsor this segment of the video. They're one of the only commission-free brokers, which is why I hold the bulk of my investments with them. I've showcased them on this channel time and time again, where I've grew my own investment portfolio to over £50,000 with them over the space of the past 4 years, with that equating to over £17,500 in unrealised profit thanks to the growth in the value of my investments. Divide that over 4 years and that's a growth of about £4,375 in profit per year. And that's all from just investing in appreciating assets, which you have tons of options to choose from on Trading 212 from all of their ETFs and individual stocks. Now, all this started for me from very much just investing in fractional shares, like the 1.42 shares in Apple that I had 4 years ago and now worth over £10,000. So look, if you are looking to grow your own wealth in order to increase your own kind of financial flexibility, confidence and empowerment, then be sure to get started on Trading 212, where if you click on the link down in the description below, you'll also get one free share valued up to £100 in order to help you get started. And thanks again to Trading 212 for sponsoring this segment of the video. Before I left my job, the company mandated a 2-day-a-week office policy, which, don't get me wrong, is still 3 less than perhaps most people work right now. But on those 2 days, I would literally go into the office, sit on my own because the rest of the team were based all around the country. I made a pointless commute at my own time and expense just to tick in a box in order to sit in a building between the hours of 9 till 5. Now, this is where I somewhat resist box ticking and just filling in corporate quotas in return for a pay slip. Yes, I did it, but I didn't like it. But I had to do it because traditional employment means that you typically exchange 1 unit of your time and presence for a unit of currency. But what I've since discovered in this new online world is that you can actually now exchange 1 unit of your time and 1 unit of your presence for potentially an unrestricted amount of money. It's a concept that, if I'm honest, I kind of thought was bollocks unless you had millions of followers. But that's absolutely not the case. I've got 45,000 amazing subscribers right now, and I'm earning far more than what I could have done at the bank. And more importantly, I can earn that money anytime, any place and anywhere, giving me total flexibility in my work schedule. I can get up early, get a block of work done in the morning before the clock even strikes 9 AM, where the normal working day starts. I can go on a run mid-afternoon without having to worry about whether my team status was going to show up as away. And I can simply choose to take a day off for when more important life events come up. Whilst I wouldn't say I have financial freedom right now, I do have time freedom, and you can't put a price on that. And that's all from understanding the income model of old isn't the only income model available to me and you. I was listening to an audiobook in the car the other day from Jim Rohn, which is called Tapping into the Power of Personal Development. And he said something that resonated so much with me and perfectly kind of summed up my, I'm going to say, subconscious learning since 2017 that I just had to share it with you. That learning being, work harder on yourself than you do in your job. Because working hard on your job will make you a living, but working hard on yourself could make you a fortune. And I don't think I've ever heard words spoken so true. Whilst I worked at my job, I certainly worked hard and probably harder than most. I never missed a deadline, always took on extra work, and my boss had complete confidence in my ability. And I absolutely advocate working hard for your employer, because how you do one thing is kind of how you do everything. But my hard work was only to the extent of the job description I had, which was only made up of perhaps 10 or so different responsibilities. Now, once I knew those 10 or so responsibilities, that's when I felt like I was starting to plateau, because I wasn't continuously learning every single day. Yet in life, there are far more than 10 different things that you can do in order to develop yourself on a personal and professional level. But in a workplace, it's only really deemed acceptable to do the things that are in your job description, and certainly not the job of anybody else around you, even if it might feel like it. I mean, outside of work, there are already 7 areas of life to look at. From health, wealth, fitness, social, family, spirituality, and business. And just from a business perspective outside of work, I was learning so much that I couldn't even comprehend. From videography to editing, color grading, thumbnails, click-through rates, SEO, accounting, profit, sales, processes, workflow, negotiation, contracts. And that's just scratching the surface. Instead of just being that cog in the machine, I became the machine. I had to know every single facet of how to run a successful business. And you learn most of that through the experience of doing the thing that you're actually doing, which is easy to do, but just as easy not to do. It did take extra time, dedication, and additional motivation at times, but it was time very much well spent, even if I didn't realize it a few years back when I wasn't making a penny. So take that time to invest in yourself, because it will pay you back a return. And ultimately, all of this certainly required me to step outside my comfort zone. Trust me, there is nothing weirder than sitting in a spare bedroom and switching on a camera to talk to yourself for the best part of 20 minutes. And my fiance finds it even weirder. But here we are, I'm doing something that I'm truly passionate about, and hopefully having a positive impact along the way on all of you guys who are spending time with me each week. And of course, this is just my story, and you lot will have your own story too. But if there's one thing that I could leave you with, it's to have the courage and the confidence to write your own story, whatever that may be.